Feels like it's been a little bit since the last time we visited Supreme, and with the fact that I feel like I'm getting a little bit more comfortable within the ranks of Supreme, it is time for us to go back and see where the road takes us next with Supreme Wrestling. We will go through the rest of the first half of the pay-per-view when we are going through the results, but right now we are still crafting the second half of the pay-per-view with the blow-off between the multi-month feud between Deadly Gamble and the Streets of Rage coming to a head tonight as Dusty and Sid go up against Ace and Blackjack inside a 15-foot high steel cage. What are you doing? We weren't focused against Johnny and Ted. Against the Flames. But tonight, we aren't just focused. We are out for revenge. This rivalry between Deadly Gamble and the rivalry between Deadly Gamble and the Streets of Rage have stretched back to the spring, or since the spring, and has gone through most of the summer. But now, after going back and forth and not being able to be in the same building with one another without a fight starting, it was made on the last episode of Sunday Slamfest when it was announced that the Streets of Rage would collide with Deadly Gamble inside of a steel cage. And this is just at the tour. Deadly Gamble, this is actually at the tour and not at a pay-per-view, so it is a little bit different. But Deadly Gamble won the belts from Joey and Teddy last month, or 2 months ago actually, and surprisingly I never had them defend the titles, which, does that go to them not competing? It does go to them not competing, which I am surprised that I didn't actually have them compete, because usually they did compete, but I guess the tag team rivalry was the Flames versus Team Chaos, and not really Streets of Rage. So maybe I should have had, a little bit different, I had it go a little bit different. But either way, the match goes tonight. And this goes, again, with somebody that I have a little bit of, I've taken a little bit of a liking to, that being Hollywood Mike Kinsey. No, can't bring him in. There's an ownership goal where if somebody's reputation is below 80, I can't actually bring them in. So maybe I will not actually bring anybody in, and I'll just work the Mike has definitely shown Mike has a gift for gab and has shown that recently. But a gift for gab only gets you so far in this business. Mike Kinsey is going to be this month's challenger for the SWF World Champion, Mickey Starr. As I would like to push Mike Kinsey. I would like to push Mike Kinsey, and the easiest way to do that is a feud with the world champ, because that's how much I like Mike Kinsey, that I'm letting him feud with the world champion. I feel like there's something else I'm missing. What am I missing? Something I'm missing. Something I'm missing. This. We're going to drop them on the pre-show. And I think there's something else. Or maybe I'm wrong. No, I think that's it. Yeah, no, I think that's it. Might as well just drop another match on the pre-show, though. We start with this match with Maxwell against Chase Allen. The reason why Maxwell is on the pre-show is because we are rebuilding the All-Star team. And with Frank Rock now on the outs, or Frank is on the outs with the Pangrazios, and with him on the outs with him being on the outs with the Pangrazios, that leaves Maxwell torn between Frank Rock and the Pangrazios. I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do yet with Maxwell. I kind of want to write him off and just send him away for a couple months and then bring him back. So I think that might be exactly what I'm going to do, because I don't know if it was just the match with Chase Allen, but I mean, a 65 in-ring performance is a solid performance for somebody like Maxwell, who really, I guess the best way to put it was just the muscle of the group. So, props to him for that, and maybe props to Chase Allen too for saving Maxwell's job. Because otherwise I think Maxwell would have gotten released. A solid pre-show match. Yeah, a solid pre-show match. I mean, that's why I love Ryan O'Brien. He has a tendency to surprise me. Rick Rumble beats the Sheik. Rick Rumble gets a solid open, that's not good. Don't even think about it. That's not good. Rick Rumble was seething after the match with the Sheik, and it almost left him injured. I will say maybe I can make this like a month feud between the Sheik and Rick Rumble. Maybe I can make this like a feud between Rick Rumble and the Sheik to keep Rick Rumble busy for a month. But at the same time, I don't know that I want to. But either way, this is what I was talking about. This is partially what I was talking about. Frank Rock has been saying for the last couple of weeks that it was Pangrazio, it was the coach, that told Frank to help Richie keep his belt. It was Pangrazio, was the coach that tried to help Frank keep his belt. Richie keep his belt. And with that being said, Pangrazio is denying it every step of the way. Coach is denying it every step of the way, and nobody knows what's accurate, because everybody's thinking that, Frank is out on his own, Frank is out on his own, Frank is out on his own, and, fact of the matter is, Frank is, you know, Coach is tired of hearing it, and Frank basically says, "Look, I'm telling you the truth. You told me to help Richie." Coach tells him, "Look, if you don't let go of the story that it was you, that it was me, then we can't trust you. We can't trust you to stay with the group, and you're out. You're out of the All-Star team." Lou Hanato challenges Richie Pangrazio for the United States title, and Lou gets the victory. Lou is somebody that was looking for the opportunity to become champion one more time and have his name up in lights one more time before he retires, because if it was up to me, Lou would not be with the company anymore. I was all set to let him go. But Richard Eisen stepped in, and Richard Eisen re-signed him. And with me being the booker and not the owner, I have no say in who Richard re-signs. So I basically found a way, with him being semi-popular still, Hanato, I found a way to keep Hanato around, and the way I kept Hanato around was having Hanato be the one who dethrones Richie Pangrazio, and also keeps the rivalry going with Frank Rock, because Frank helped Richie lose the belt again. You know, the last time it was a botched interference. This time it wasn't a botched interference. It was on purpose. You know, this time it was on purpose. But it's okay, because Hollywood has arrived. As Hollywood Mike Kinsey and Brick Fantana talk about the main event tonight, with Mac Kinsey getting the opportunity of a lifetime to not just step in the ring with the world champion, but also be the one who dethrones Mickey Starr as SWF world champion. As SWF world champion. But that's one of the reasons why I love Mike Kinsey. And now, out of nowhere, Frank Rock is being interviewed by John Jackson, and Frank Rock is jumped by Drake McWade and Big Tex Mushnick, and out of nowhere, not just from out of nowhere, Richie Pangrazio joins the fray. And Frank Rock is attacked 3-on-1 by the rebuilt All-Star team. Ted Mushnick is not a part of the company at this point, and was brought in by Coach Pangrazio. But the fact of the matter is, what does the future hold now that Frank Rock was jumped by the All-Star team, specifically Pangrazio Jr. and Drake McWade? What does the future hold, and what happens next? Because you got to figure Frank Rock is not going to be in a good shape after getting a 3-on-1 beatdown by the remaining members of the All-Star team. Match filler. Mr. Norro and Wade Morris. That's pretty much all this was. The Streets of Rage hype up their match with Deadly Gamble tonight. And now we move to one of the more anticipated matchups. The Steel Cage match for the World Tag Team titles. The Streets of Rage look to capture back the Tag Team Championships that they lost to Blazing Flames back in May. And now, Deadly Gamble are no longer the Tag Team Champions. The Streets of Rage regain the Tag Team titles. The Streets of Rage regain the Tag Team titles, capturing the titles away from Deadly Gamble. They take the titles away from the Deadly Gamble and are the new Tag Team Champions, blowing off the rivalry that has been going on since the spring with Ace McQueen and Blackjack. After Blackjack and Ace McQueen tried to take out Rocky After Blackjack and Ace McQueen took shortcuts to find ways to defeat the Streets of Rage, the Streets of Rage finally get one over on the Deadly Gamble, and the gamble was not just accepted, but the gamble was conquered, as the Streets of Rage are once again the top of the tag team division. Mickey Starr sets up his match, and it's like I said when I was booking the show, the gift of gab only gets you so far. Tonight is the test for Hollywood Mike Kinsey when he steps in the ring against the best that Supreme has to offer. And Hollywood Mike Kinsey steps up to the plate against Mickey Starr. Mike Kinsey had help with his friend Brick Fantana. The match has a non-finish as Mike Kinsey and Mickey Starr go to a disqualification when Brick Fantana steps up and helps his friend avoid losing to the world champion and ends this match in a disqualification. Things look to be far from over between Gone Hollywood and the world champion. With that being said, though, that is it. A solid show and a solid live tour. One of our, I believe it's only our second show in the Midwest. But as we continue to expand out, what happens next with the United States Championship? Will Rick Rumble and the Sheik continue their rivalry? What happens? Who are the next challengers for the Streets of Rage? What happens with the All-Star team? Is Gone Hollywood going to be viable contenders for the world champion Mickey Starr? And if not, who is next for Mickey Starr? All that and more will be answered in the upcoming videos. As I've said, I'm getting comfortable, and you could probably see the difference between this and previous videos that I do look like it does seem like I've taken to certain people and that I have learned more about this database than I knew at the beginning. And I'm glad I've taken to it the way I've taken to it, doing it at my pace. But if you still have any suggestions or any, anything you would like to see, let me know down in the comment section below. With that being said, though, that is it for me, and I will see you in the next one.